moving on. No dead air here. Um, this month, Pride Month,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we have made notes three big things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I would it's like big things for us
Mm-hmm.
and the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna three parts, break it down into three parts. Uh, first was I want to get your thoughts on it. The Trump administration killed a rule that blocked a rule turn away transgender people from homeless shelters.
Wow.
Any thoughts on that?
I, like I was mentioning to him earlier, it's just the hypocrisy of, you know, I don't want to get too much into politics, but the hypocrisy of this administration, especially Trump's administration, how he tells people how Trump's for LGBT, and then behind doors he just makes these things happen, and it's just disgusting and utterly, it's terrible because at the end of the day, these are these people's lives. And the fact that unfortunately with one, rule of thumb or whatever he needs to do to make these things happen, he makes it happen. It's ridiculous.
Unfair.
It's unfair. It's not. It's who are we to say you can't be who you want to be? That's the way I think of it. Who am I to tell you you can't be the person you choose to be just because it doesn't resonate with me? That's
You,
not my life to choose. It's not my, you know.
now, the second one was in response to what you said,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of and to bring up the second one as like a kind of a response, it's like is the he also um, proposed he also made it so doctors can turn away transgenders as well. But the reason why I bring it up is like I believe that while there are doctors who would, like no, I would like to believe that there are a lot of doctors out there that will still allow
Yeah.
that. So allow transgenders. So it is. It's disgusting. It's unfair.
It's unfair.
It really is. But I want to. I want to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Kind of like that cake situation
Mm-hmm.
back, like way back then, where they were just like, "I'm not going to bake you a cake." Rawr.
Yeah.
Like, rawr, I'm a raptor. Rawr. It's like, Jesus, man, calm down. It's just a cake, bro.
I've had experiences, I remember my sophomore, junior year, I had a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a girl at the time, but, again, this was in JRTC. I was, like, in charge, I guess you can say, of the people I was with, and, I knew the people below me, like, especially the students, and one of the students that I had, I was very close friends with. And I remember this situation specifically because I was part of it. But I remember, my teacher. He was an amazing teacher. He wasn't, against gays as far as I know, but he just didn't understand. And I remember one day he was like, "Really, why is so and so dressed in a man's attire?" And I was like, "Sir, that's just who they are." And obviously at the time, well, everybody knew as a her, but I was addressing that individual as a he.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, sir, he's cutting his hair." At the time, I knew the person very well. They were having their to
Yeah,
cover their
yeah.
chest, and they were taking hormones. And to him, because he didn't know specifically to the details, it's just the outside part. He just wasn't concepting, like conceptual thinking, like why. And it wasn't until I had to specifically tell him, "Well, sir, they just want to be a man. They want to be
He identifies as a he.
he identifies as a he, and this is who he wants to be."
Yeah.
And he was slowly like, "Oh, okay." And because I had the opportunity to tell him, I think that was just a good part, as far, because a lot of people were catching an eye. A lot of people were saying about it, but immediately I squashed it, and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna have this. You're not gonna talk bad about it. This is who he wants to be, and he's cutting his hair. He's wearing the men's attire. There's nothing wrong about the uniform if he's wearing it according to the rules and regulations. What gives?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was that. That was that. And I was able to tell my teacher, and like little by little, he got it, and I was like, okay, good.
You rock.
I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna have this. But yeah.
To leave that topic on a good note, the Supreme Court did rule that LGBT Americans are protected by the anti-discriminations of this country.
Yes.
They can't be fired or discriminated for being part of the LGBT. And as part of, they're basically reinforcing the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So it's like something that is huge.
Yeah.
It's like Trump appointed Brett Kavanaugh so he could overturn these things. And it's just like, it's amazing. It's just like, I literally, it's kind of like, Julian showed me the Facebook mixer thing, and like, oh, look further. I literally, it's like, I'm like, okay, I don't know if I believe it. I look it up, and I looked up even further, and I'm just like, oh, it's true.
Yeah,
sources, this is great.
Sources are giving its truth.
Yes, this is great. Yes. No, well, is it that is like it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing that the Supreme Court, someone that he thought was on his side, is
squash that.
Out.
Get that out. We're not having this right now. We're not.
They're treating us as Americans. They see us as Americans. It's like we are Americans, and it's like Trump sees us as, well, yeah. I'm not going to get it.
Speaking on terms of that, I could never imagine how I just hearing these stories about older generations growing up, and people from the 60s and 70s, the movement of the LGBT community is just amazing. I was probably 13, 14 when legalization came about, and this is just me figuring out who I was, but never in a million years that I thought I was able to get married to a woman and be okay legally and be counted as an equal as to another, American couple, and be able as any other human being. And for a country to do that, I was just like, wow, I was young. And then for now, it was funny going off on that. I was always hesitant in my work area. Obviously being this Orlando. Yeah. And, being, you're lucky with what you have. If you work with a supervisor or a coworker that's accepting of it, then you're lucky. But considering that this is the South, and still there's some people who have that mentality, I have encountered some who still think back then, who think there's a certain way of doing, but I'm like, we've changed.
I feel it's and this goes not just for the LGBT, but a lot of views they can't get out of that bubble.
Yeah. Especially the older generation.
Oh my God.
The older generation has a very hard time grasping a concept that, unfortunately, many of them were just raised into that atmosphere. It's just something that they were raised into that atmosphere, and obviously what you were told at a young age, you learned it.
It's refreshing to see some of the older ones that you expect to be like that end up being all like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
When they see you and someone else.
I'm just lucky, with my grandmother and my great aunt, which is her sister. Was it the other day? She's like, Jaylene, do you have anybody? I'm like, No, Titi, I don't. I don't want to. I'm at a bubble my period time. I'm 21. I want to. I want to go out. I want to venture the world. I don't think of having anybody. There's nothing. There's nobody that crosses my mind right now. But she was like, you know what? When you have somebody, which I know you will, she's gonna be there, and just know that And she was just kept on talking, just the little details,
Hmm.
and it was just like so refreshing. And then day prior, she was like, "So how are you gonna have your baby with your wife?" And I was like, "Wow, that's just so." I was like, "That's so amazing that you're
Yes.
talking to me about this." And really, I'm just not that type of person to really talk about it openly, because again, I just don't, considering my grandma and her sister are very Catholic.
Yeah.
But with me and my younger brother, they're just so open minded. And the fact that she was just like, out of the blue, she's like, "So, how are you planning to have kids with your wife?" And I'm like, "Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you that I
Yeah,
can, like,
mom,
open."
mom, come listen what Grandma says.
And that I can openly, without feeling, like, angsty or, like, scared, that they can just be like, "So, how's this and this?"
And this was way back
This
when you
is,
first came out.
no, this is like now.
Oh,
This is now.
oh,
This is
oh,
now.
good.
That's so
Okay, okay,
refreshing. Yeah.
okay. I thought this was like way back when you first came out, and your mom's all like, and your grandma's like, "Hey, babies,
There
I
ha
want to see grandbabies."
there has been some times, like in the beginning, where I would throw it out to her, be like, "I came out first to our grandma, and she
Mhm.
was more accepting than you," and my mom would be like, "What?" Be like, "What?" I remember telling her, I would say that, and I'm like, "She was more accepting than you," and then my mom would be like, "She's older than me. What are you talking about?" But no, I'm just, my great aunt, which is her sister, she's just so, like, she's not that younger. She's probably like 9 years old younger than my grandmother, 8. So she's not that. She's older than my mother and my father, but she's still in that age bracket where many of her age still have a hard time. If not, they're getting there. But I'm just so, thankful.
We're blessed to have families that are
Yeah.
either willing to
Or
work to understand, or
they're already on the ball.
there you go.
Hmm.
Very, yeah. It's not everyone has that, and it's something I'm thankful for
Hmm.
every day. I'm sure you're the same. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.